somebody who made an impact on India's 2011 World Cup winning campaign and of course in 2007 in South Africa in the World T20. And we are fortunate that we happen to have someone who made his debut alongside Yuvraj Singh, who's announced his retirement from all international cricket today, Zaheer Khan, here in the studio. Zach, I'm not going to ask you for a reaction to the retirement, but just take us back to that day when both of you walked out in India blue together.
Well, in fact, I mean, whether you ask me or don't ask me, that's what I was thinking of, and it's an emotional day in anyone's career, and I've always felt, even through my experience, when I decided that okay, it's time and I have to move on, it just kind of comes to you, and you feel that you are free from all the burdens, all the sacrifices you've done, all the things which you've been doing just for the love of the game. It's something which makes you feel that now it's done. I've played my part. Now it's time to start the new innings, and that's what UV is going to start now, and that's how he's going to feel as well. And when I was thinking about all this, in fact this morning only I had a chat with him, and I was thinking about the first day, as in when
Nairobi,
as the camp. I actually went back just prior to this tournament, ICC Champions Trophy in Nairobi in October 2000. I still remember, I think 3rd of October was our debut for both of us. But prior to that, there was a camp in Chennai, which was a lead up for the Champions Trophy, and we had about 25-30 players in that. So no one knew who is going to be selected. It was just basically, all these guys are in contention, and there is a good chance 15 will be picked from this lot who is there, and pretty much the senior guys, obviously Saurav, Sachin, Rahul, all those guys were there. So we too were very hopeful. Yuvraj has had a great under-19 World Cup, and then he was in contention. I've had a good first class season, so I was also very hopeful to be picked. And the news broke in the afternoon, and those days there never used to be all these formal announcements and all that, or you get to hear on Twitter instant, that those kind of things were not there. So we had to wait for the news channels to break the news before someone from board calls us, because the meeting was still going on. As they announce it, the media picks it. So we are eagerly waiting for that, and both of us were sharing the room in that camp in Chennai. So as soon as the news broke, it was so good that both of us got selected in that tournament. So it was just a lot of screaming, shouting around. I was talking to my family, he was calling his family, and the atmosphere in the room was just great. And since then, I think then going to Nairobi, playing those matches together, he was once he played that knock against Australia, we all knew that we are going to see something special, because he had great ability. And me and him always used to fight about the fact that he used to say, but I should bat higher in the order, because obviously it's a numbers thing. Everyone wants to have those hundreds and big scores in your thing to show that okay, I've scored this many hundred, that many hundreds. And I always used to tell him, the kind of impact you have on the game, the kind of things which you can do at that number, at that number 5 in white ball cricket, that's the most toughest number to bat at, at number 4, number 5, because you don't decide how you're going to bat. The game decides how you're going to bat at that stage. So sometimes you have to take your time, anchor the inning. Sometimes you have to go after the bowling, set that platform, and that's something which he had the ability. He had that power, that impact on the game at that number, and he had proved it. Be it NatWest, be it hitting those 6 sixes, be it him and MS consistently finishing those matches in Pakistan, and the World Cup 2011. Who is going to forget that? The man of the series. So the uniqueness of UV was that the moment he used to get on a roll, he used to finish the tournaments. Like he always had that.
There's a finishing example right there.
Yeah, I mean and you look at his career. Any tournament which he started getting runs early, he's finished those tournaments with man of the series. That's something which he had done consistently, and 2011 was something very special. So this is time to celebrate UV's career, UV's achievements, and wish him all the luck for the second innings. I'm sure the second innings is going to be even better than what he had as a first innings.
Well, I'm just going to keep Zaheer there on these emotional moments as we see these pictures. You've had a few emotional moments. You talked about one, which was, of course, Nairobi. He's had a second innings of a different kind with Hazel not too long ago. This is another innings, but you have to talk about the emotions of 2011 because it was a roller coaster within him. Not everybody knew outside what was going on. And on April 2nd, 2011, at the Wankhede, you were there in the same huddle being interviewed with him, and you said that I kept telling this man, you're going to win a World Cup for India.
Absolutely, and that's something which we all knew, that what he can bring to the table. With the ball in hand, with the bat, his role was going to be huge in the World Cup. So that's something which we all knew. Everyone in that team knew about it. So we had to make sure that he's in the best possible mindset for that particular tournament. And in Bangladesh, he was struggling with the wrist injury, which he was always complaining about. He was getting few injuries all along the line, and because of that, he was not getting on a role which he usually prefers. He's always been kind of a guy who always preferred to be on a roll. Once he's scoring runs, he will score runs, and then he can stretch that patch. So that's something which was not happening for him because of the injuries, which were just keeping him in and out of the playing 11. So I was telling him, don't worry about all these things which are going to be happening. Come World Cup, you are going to have the impact which you always had on the game, and you playing matches is going to be most important for us. And I remember during the World Cup as well, one of the matches he had that neck strain, and he came to me. I was like, oh, I feel like not playing the match. I said, I'm not hearing anything. You have to play it, even if you have to open your stance if you can't see it. But he's saying, no, but I have to look at the bowler. So I said, open your stance and play, because once you're there in the middle, you forget all the aches and pains. And that's what he did in that 2011. Even though he was suffering physically, he was just overshadowing everything, because once you are in that match situation and scenario, all you're thinking about is how well you can contribute for the team to win the match, and aches and pains all just vanishes in for that that moment till the time you are on the field playing the match.
Yes, I just had to listen to Zaheer talking about his teammate Joy, but we saw some of the numbers, we saw the photographs, but sometimes neither of those do justice to his contribution. What's the legacy Yuvraj Singh will leave behind?
Oh, absolutely, as he said, and more than anything else, it's, if you look at what exactly what Zaheer is saying, the teammates around him, the people, he lifted everyone else around him, and that was what he was such an inspiration. I mean, playing, one is the impact you make on the field as a player, the other is the impact that you have on everything around you, and from the important things like winning World Cups to even the less important things. So every Indian cricketer, the young cricketers, when they used to come in, I remember in 2007-8, everyone would wear Ed Hardy, and everyone would, why? Because UV Paji wears it. He was the style guru also of the team. All the young guys, they wanted to look like shades like UV, style like UV. So in every way, he was a leader. I mean, every one of these guys said, one day I want to be like that guy. And that was Yuvraj, and yet he carried it so lightly. You interview him, you talk to him, he was absolutely, he never had that, I'm a star. He was just a very cool guy.
And he was always very good with any young talent coming along, so be it part of the team or outside, he would make sure that he would have that kind of impact on that guy, where he becomes a role model for that guy. He's always been a very flamboyant, stylish kind of a personality, but he was very serious when it came to cricket and achieving and winning matches. That fire was always burning. I'm sure it still is, because he was just part of the IPL franchisee, and he was not taking it sitting down. The fact was, he was not making playing 11. He wanted to be out there and win matches. So that's something you can relate with UV pretty much all the time. So that spark, that fire, is always going to remain.
Absolutely. I mean, and of course the style icon stays. That's never going to change.